Right at the end of 2024, Front Row Motorsports had announced that they had finalized the purchase for their team's third charter from Stewart-Haas Racing. Well, now we know the driver, and I don't know why I'm trying to build it up. It's not really a surprise, and also it's in the title of the video and the thumbnail of the video. It's Zane Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Zane Smith returns to Front Row Motorsports, the team that he won a Truck Series championship with. Zane Smith, of course, he was at Spire last year, but he was under a Trackhouse contract, but he was leased out to Spire Motorsports for the 2024 NASCAR Cup Series season. Now, it was a rough 2024 season, at least the first half of it was. Just a really bad start to the year for him and that team. But the second half of the year, he kind of started to pick it up. He was much more consistently in the top 20. Picked up a couple of top fives, including a runner-up at Nashville. 4 top 10s on the season. Ended up 30th in the points once again. That first half of the season just really kind of killed everything, it felt like. But really rebounded in the second half. As I said, he's been with Front Row before, back when he won his Truck Series championship. In 2022, he's run multiple Truck Series seasons. In fact, I think he's made a few Cup Series starts. They would have a part-time car for him, or even, I remember Todd Gilliland lost a few races one year, and they ended up putting Zane Smith in the 38, and Todd Gilliland either had to go race for Rick Ware, or he had to go to a third part-time car. So Zane Smith does have experience with Front Row. This does finalize their driver lineup, but first let's go through the statement from FRM. Zane Smith returns to Front Row Motorsports in 2025. Comes back as Cup Series driver to organization where he won Truck Championship. Zane Smith is coming back to the number 38 Ford Mustang Dark Horse. The 25-year-old Huntington Beach, California native will again race for Front Row Motorsports in the NASCAR Cup Series beginning in 2025 under a multi-year agreement. Smith joins former teammate Todd Gilliland and the newest FRM driver Noah Gragson to complete a young and dynamic driver roster. I've always felt at home with Front Row Motorsports, said Smith. They believed in me when I signed with them to race in the Truck Series initially in 2022, and we shared so much success together, winning 6 races and a championship in 2 seasons. Unfortunately, everyone had to make tough decisions because there were only 2 Cup cars available at Front Row Motorsports going into last season when I was ready to move up full-time. Now, going into next year, Front Row has really taken their Cup program to another level, and I cannot think of a better lineup of teammates. Todd and Noah are great friends of mine, and we all have a lot to prove as young drivers in the Cup Series. It is a great time to come back and continue to build my career with an organization where I know I can win. I want to thank Bob, the owner, Bob Jenkins, Jerry Freese, and Mark Rushbrook at Ford for making this happen. I know that we can win together in the Cup Series like we did in the Truck Series. It's a great time to come back as we continue to make FRM even better. And then Ryan Bergenty was announced as the crew chief for Zane Smith. He had previously been the crew chief for Todd Gilliland. He said, our team is excited to be working with Zane. He's an outstanding talent and brings a strong competitive spirit to the group. And then Bob Jenkins said, we want to welcome Zane back to Front Row Motorsports. He brought us our first championship, and we believe that he can win in the NASCAR Cup Series too. We have always believed in his talents, and we will work hard to give him what he needs to be successful. We have confidence in Zane. This finalizes our drivers for 2025 in the Cup Series. Now we can make all our teams as strong as possible. We have come a long way, but there is a lot more ground to make up too. We now have the drivers who can build on where we are today and take us to the next level. So yeah, Zane Smith, it was not a surprise. Front Row and Zane Smith have been tied together for a while now in terms of getting back together. Of course, they did split for a year. But in terms of them getting back together, once it was announced that Front Row was officially expanding Zane Smith because he was out of the Trackhouse ride or out of the Spire ride, however you want to look at that, it was expected that Zane Smith was going to go back to Front Row. Now he's in the 38 car. It's a number. Todd Gilliland, if you missed that, he's in the number 34 car now. Noah Gragson, that number is unknown. But they're going to figure out the sponsorship, going to figure out, obviously, Gregson's number, teams, partners, all that kind of stuff in the future. But we know that Zane Smith is going to be back at Front Row, and this is a really big opportunity for him. Had he started at Front Row maybe even 2 years ago, 2023, the year after he won his Trucks Championship, Front Row in 23, they made a step forward. We saw Michael McDowell make the playoffs with his win at the Indianapolis Road Course. He was in the top 15 in points, I think, at the end of the regular season. So Front Row had taken a step forward, but this next year is a big year for them. Last year was a great year for him too. Michael McDowell won the most poles out of any driver in the Cup Series. But the thing is that now Front Row is a Tier 1 Ford program. Previously, it was Stewart-Haas, Tier 1 being like the top dogs. You get all the info, all the data, all the help from the manufacturer, and Front Row's that now. They used to be a back marker. Then they moved up to kind of a mid-pack team. Well, now they're one of the top dogs at Ford. And it starts this year. They had been promoted to it last year, I think mid-season, or at least they announced it mid-season. And so now this is their first year, their first big opportunity as a team to kind of be a big team, a front-running team. Will they do it? I don't know. We still have a few weeks to go until the 2025 season starts, a little bit over a month, really. But it's a big opportunity for all three guys, and young drivers as well, all in their mid-20s. It's a big opportunity for them. It's a big opportunity for Front Row. They've expanded. They have young drivers. They have the support and the backing from a manufacturer. A lot of things are going Front Row's way right now. A lot of things, back to the Zane Smith thing, are going Zane Smith's way right now. As I said earlier, first half of 2024 was not pretty. Second half of 2024, that was more like the Zane Smith we saw in the Truck Series. And no, I don't. Maybe the championship is too much of a expectation for Front Row right now, but I think any of the Front Row drivers, but also Zane Smith making the playoffs, that's not a long shot. Now, if they change the playoff rules, then maybe, but that's to be seen. But if it's the same format as this year, winning you're in, I could see Zane Smith winning a race. I think the super speedways will favor Front Row Motorsports. They showed last year that they have great speed at those racetracks. We've seen them have speed before at the road courses. And this year there were a few times that they had raw, straight-up speed at some of the intermediate tracks as well, and even every once in a while a short track. I mean, Michael McDowell won the pole at Gateway. So we've seen flashes of it from Front Row, but once they get it all together, they now have a full driver lineup, a young driver lineup. We'll see what they can do with it. This was my first video of 2025. That's kind of exciting, I guess. But Zane Smith, the Front Row, that all, well, not quite finalizes the 2025 driver lineup. We don't know what Rick Ware Racing is doing yet, though there was just a report from Jordan Bianchi that it looks like Cody Ware might get a shot at that full-time opportunity. But anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. 2025 is finally here. We're in the second day of it. And I'll let you guys know plans for 2025 at some point. I'll continue to make videos. And later in the month, or as the month goes on, I should say, we'll start looking ahead to the 2025 NASCAR season.